Hi, my name is Milko. I am English teacher in Federico Chueca Culture Center. Only to remember, we begin with our English class about with starter, exactly, no? In this case, if you remember the last class, we work about modal verbs. Exactly, that was the highest point that we begin a few last one in this case. Well, for example, in this situation that we describe, the situation exactly, that is the question that we have, for example, when we refer about modal verbs. Well, only for example, to remind several modal verbs, we have can, could, must. The only exception that plus two have to. We use should, and we have may and might. Exactly, about the first, I suppose the more common, can. What is or how does it organize? About that we begin. Normally when we make a sentence, we use subject plus modal verb plus infinitive. About that, for example, imagine, for example, that I have in my mind, I can swim. I can swim, that we translate to Spanish, yo sé nadar. Exactly. Now, in this case, it's the meaning about can. It's according with skills, but we have another meaning about capability about that. No, for example, can you close the door? Exactly. No, puedes cerrar la puerta. There are the two main meaning about can. Well, other forms that we have in our grammar, we have could in the past, como podía, exactly, and the other situation, for example, that we can think, oh, somebody can ask me, well, Milko, and for example, how does it make, for example, in future, in conditional, in present perfect, in pluscuamperfect? About that, what is the right way to make it? For example, in these cases, we use to be able to. For example, to be able to, we use when we work future. The other forms that is not present and not past. For example, I will be able to pass my English exam at the end of term. Yo seré capaz de aprobar mi examen al final del curso. Or for example, other question that we can use is, in this case, I have been able, for example, to use my new computer or laptop. Exactly. Imagine when you buy a new computer, well, you must learn all systems, and it's a bit difficult at the beginning when you, for example, press any button about that. Exactly. No, in this case you have, for example, we continue about the modal verbs. You have in this case must according with obligation. For example, you must pay the taxes every year. Tú debes pagar los impuestos todos los años. Exactly. The other that I say before about using should, when you use should, that is an advice. For example, if you are ill, you can, for example, or somebody can recommend you, oh, you should go to the doctor. About that, that is according with this right way. Exactly. Other structure, for example, that we have, for example, in this situation, that we have the difference about may and might. In which case you use may. For example, when you have may, you have two ways. In the first way, you use may, for example, about permission. For example, you are at the class, and you ask your teacher, "Excuse me, may I go to the bathroom?" That is one form. And in the other form that is possible to use may, it's possible according with probability. For example, we may watch the TV this night. Probably it's a good option, no? When you have, for example, or when you have a look in the different magazine, that is a good film about science fiction. That is a good option, for example, to spend some hours at night. Well, the other option that you have, for example, to use in this case might we use when you translate in Spanish, it's podría. Then the student, for example, that to pay attention about the sentence that I name, you can say, we might prepare a cake, for example, a lemon cake this afternoon if I have time. Exactly, then with this meaning. Before I name may with the meaning in Spanish con puede que, and in this case about so. Well, according with that, once I try referring most of the modal verbs, the best way is to practice and to make several exercises that I sent the different students in my English class. Exactly. Well, you have in this case, for example, the most important is to understand the different meanings. In this case, for example, I say you firstly in Spanish and you translate to do as homework. Exactly. Puede que vaya a Londres para ver Trafalgar Square. Yo sé jugar al ajedrez. Nosotros podríamos ir a Sevilla. Nosotros podríamos ir a Sevilla en Semana Santa. Another situation that you can, for example, to use in Spanish. Él debe trabajar el lunes. Ellos tienen que recoger al niño en el colegio. Ellos deberían llevar paraguas, ya que el día está lluvioso. There are a relation of Spanish sentence that the students must translate into English. Then, only for example, to make a small summary, we are speaking about using the modal verbs. Only for example, to remember the last minutes that we have, it's to use can como poder o saber, could, como podía o sabía, must, como deber de obligación, have to, como tener que, should, como deberías, exactly. Then you can, the last may, have to your option to use como poder de permiso y poder de probabilidad. And the last, it's Mike about that. You can see using these different modal verbs in the Educo channel. Exactly. Well, according with the other level, exactly. Good morning again. Exactly. My name is Milko, and I speak about intermediate level. Exactly. In this case, if you remember the last one, I only name the conditional sentence, but in this occasion, we practice more deeply how is the structure and how is the function about that. Exactly. Well, only for example to name the different conditional sentence, I say the next, so the following. Well, we begin with the first conditional sentence, zero conditional. Exactly. It's normally using about routine or according with the daily life. For example, if I imagine, for example, that I have in my mind, if I go to the school, I greet my friends. That is usual about that. For example, according with the conditional, the first conditional, about using normally about the same structure, if plus present in the conditional sentence, and in the main sentence you use normally will plus infinitive. Exactly about that. It's possible that similar than the zero conditional, or to extend conditional sentence, they change the several sentences. It's possible. Normally the formal is conditional and the main sentence, but it's possible to change the position. First table the main sentence, and later the conditional sentence. That is normally about for example, a sentence that is possible to use is if he visits me, we will go to the theater. In this case, well, about the second conditional, it's normally in the conditional sentence you use the simple past, para nosotros subjuntivo, and in the main street the conditional verbs. But, for example, if I had some money, I would go to Nepal. A beautiful travel to enjoy it. And in the third conditional, you use that is normally people understand about impossible. You use with past perfect. It's if plus past perfect, had plus past participle, and in the main street the conditional compose, that's organized with would plus have plus past participle. For example, if I had some time, I would have gone to Salamanca this summer. In this occasion, to use with this structure, with this form about that. And that is the situation, the different sentence that you can use For example, in the situation that you have, for example, in that case, sentence as homework, for example, si yo vengo tarde, no iremos al cine. Si él está en casa, vemos una película de terror. Si ella comiera conmigo, prepararíamos un buen pastel de limón. Si ellos me hubieran entregado la caja, le habría llamado después. Si él no viene con su amigo, no iremos al parque. You can see this explaining in Educo channel. Thanks for all.